Hey everybody, this is David Modell looking at the markets. Going to give you a brief introduction or explanation of CPR. No, not the medical CPR, talking about central pivot range, the CPR indicator. I'll show you very briefly how it's calculated. You don't really need to know how it's calculated, or at least you don't have to memorize it, but it is good to at least understand what it is. And then I'll show you what that might look like and where to find it, because it's not easy to find on the internet necessarily. So calculating the 3 CPR pivot points. And it's a lot, not a lot like, but kind of similar to pivot points, traditional pivot points. And I made a video on that, and I'll put a link to that in the description below this video if you want to check out my older traditional video on pivot points. The traditional pivot points, there are 5 of them, but with the CPR central pivot range indicator, the basic format has 3. All right, so calculating the 3 CPR pivot points is based on the previous day's price ranges. So you got your pivot, and that is calculated by the high, and this is from the previous day. Okay, so look at the yesterday's prices. You take the yesterday's high plus yesterday's low and yesterday's closing price. Add them all up, and then take that number and divide by 3. That's your pivot for today. Then to calculate your bottom central pivot, which is below the pivot, that is yesterday's high plus yesterday's low price. Add them up, and then take that number and divide by 2. And then to get the upper line, the top central pivot, you take the pivot, the middle line, which you already calculated above, and then you subtract the bottom central pivot, which you already calculated. Subtract, and then whatever number you get, now you add the pivot. All right, so that's the top line. There will be 3 lines. All right. And I'll show you what that looks like in a moment, and where to find it. But by the way, a lot of people ask me for coaching, for help with their trading or investing. If you'd like some help with that, you can email me at davidmodell@gmail.com for the coaching. All right, so where do you find this? It's not easy. I mean, if you Google it, maybe your trading platform has it. That's great. If not, then you can go to TradingView. tradingview.com, TradingView.com. Want to give them credit. I use them quite a bit, and there's a free version here, which I'm using right now. And you go to the front page. We're on the home page here, and you see the search box. All right, well, you see how it says ticker? First, you have to change that. All right, you click on ticker, and from the drop-down menu, you go to scripts. All right, scripts. And click on that. Now you're going to do a script search. All right, so first let's try, let's type it in. Okay, so you could either copy and paste it, or you could type it in, either way, central pivot range, and then search. And now I cannot vouch for any of these. I cannot guarantee that any of these work. Okay, these are submitted by people who are coders and script writers. So these are user-generated scripts. I cannot guarantee any of them. Although the one that I found to be pretty good, in my opinion, again, no guarantees. It's by Sherwind D, SD Developing Central Pivot Range. And I'm going to click on that one. Here it is. And this individual has applied it to its Forex currency pairs, the euro against the dollar. All right, and notice that 3 lines. 1, 2, 3. All right, you got your top, your bottom, and then your middle pivot there. All right, 3 lines, and then when it changes, it goes to 3 different prices. Then when it changes, it goes to 3 different prices, and so on. Okay, what you can do is, and you could make it a monthly pivot, you can make it a daily pivot, whatever you like. All right, I've seen, you could conceivably perhaps use it for shorter time frames. You could try it out, although I usually have seen it for a daily. They change the price every day, or you could change it every week or every month, whatever you like. Totally your choice. You might have to modify the script. What I like about this one is that you can see it. You can see it right there in the script. There it is, right? The pivot, high plus low plus close divided by 3, and then you got your bottom, right? And then your top, and that's the formula that we know. So, if you're going to use a script, check the formula, make sure that it is accurate, all right, and then adjust it to the time frame that you like. So how do you use the 3 lines? Well, there's no definite way of using it. A lot of people use the pivot, just like traditional regular pivot points. A lot of people use them as support and resistance. All right. So, for example, if the price is down here, and then if it breaks through the bottom of the 3 lines, the bottom pivot or the lower pivot, if it breaks through it strongly, if it closes above it with heavy volume, then you might go long with your target, your profit target being the line above it, which would be the midline here. Okay, the central pivot, middle pivot point. And then if it keeps going with volume and momentum above that, then your next target, price target, might be the top line here. Okay, or if you're shorting the other way around, if the price falls hard and fast and with heavy volume, below this upper line here, then you might take a short position. Now, shorting is not for most people. Shorting can be a dangerous game, can be risky. So please be careful with shorting, and you don't have to do it at all. By the way, if you don't want to, that's okay. But if you are the type of person who if you like to go short, if you're willing to take that risk, then if it goes below this one with a lot of volume and closes below it strongly, perhaps with a big red candle, then you might take a short position with your profit target at the midline. And then if it keeps going down further, then your profit target might be that bottom line. So, again, support and resistance levels, that's one way to use it. You can interpret these lines however you like. It's a lot like, again, regular traditional pivots in some ways. Now, what I like about the traditional pivots is that oftentimes you'll get 5 lines instead of just 3. And when you have 5 lines, 5 pivot points, then you can use them. It's easier to use them not only as profit targets, but also you can use them as stop losses. It's not so easy when you only have 3 lines to figure out what your stop loss is going to be necessarily all the time. So that's something to think about. But this is, I think it can be useful, these 3 lines. Again, just for interpretation, nothing works perfectly. Okay. Another script you might want to consider. If you go back to TradingView, here's the home page. Again, not ticker. You're searching for scripts. Pivot range. Whoops, I wrote rivet range. if I could type pivot range. There we go. Search. And there was another one that I kind of liked. Let me see if I could find it. Here it is. Yeah, this one by Christian.D. I kind of like this one as well. Again, I cannot guarantee that any of these work perfectly. Okay, so here's another script, and you always want to check the script, make sure. And here's the script, and again, the formulas. That's what I'm looking for. So you want to check the formulas in the script, make sure that that's accurate. Okay, and so kind of similar concept here. Interestingly, sometimes the 3 lines might be very close together, so it might be hard to work with it sometimes. Okay, so that's something to think about. All right, and so this is on a shorter time range than the previous example. This is from Apple. Okay, so I hope this was helpful to you. All right, just an introduction. Be careful with any script. Know what you're doing, and you really have to make the final decisions yourself. But if you do want a mentor, just for help with trading and investing, helping you to put together your own trading or investing plan, because you really want to have a plan, you can email me for the coaching at davidmodell, MOADEL, @gmail.com. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up right now. And subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit that notification bell on YouTube if you haven't done that already. That way you'll be updated whenever I put out new videos like this one. Hey, thanks a lot for watching and listening. I'll talk to you again soon.